I'm Johnny Harris. I'm 88 years old. I have over $1 million in savings, and I consider my life a financial success and a personal failure. I built a fortress of security but forgot to live inside it. Let me tell you what happened. Yesterday, I tried to walk to my mailbox. It's at the end of the driveway, right there. I could see it. I got my walker, I opened the front door, and I started. Halfway down the driveway, my legs just gave up. They were trembling. I was out of breath. I had to turn around and come back inside. I sat on the couch in our living room here in Oakwood, and I just felt defeated. Completely defeated. That simple failure, not being able to walk to my own mailbox, made a truth I've been avoiding for years impossible to ignore any longer. I traded my life for numbers in a bank account, and now the numbers are here, but the life is gone. You see, I was a scientist. My whole career was about logic, about cause and effect. I applied that to my family, to my wife Patsy, our 2 kids, our 6 grandkids. I built what I thought was an unshakable financial fortress. I took so much pride in my savings, in my pension. I looked at the statements and I thought, I've won. I've provided. That pride, that smug feeling of being the responsible one, was the foundation of my biggest mistake. It started about 15 years ago. I was 73, freshly retired. Patsy and I were both healthy. The kids were grown. We finally had the time. And one afternoon, Patsy came home with a brochure. She put it on our kitchen table right next to my coffee mug. Her eyes were so bright. "Imagine it, Johnny," she said. "An Alaskan cruise, the glaciers, the whales. We could go with Mark and his family next summer." I can still see her face in that moment, full of hope. She was already there, on that ship, with all of us. I picked up that brochure, and I did what I always did. I looked at the price per person. I did the quick math in my head for all of us. My stomach tightened. "Let's think about it," I said. "That's a lot of money for just 2 weeks." I saw it happen. The light just left her eyes. It went out, like flipping a switch. We thought about it until the booking window closed. We thought about it until the moment passed, and her excitement never came back. That was the first of so many deferred dreams. I didn't know it then, but I'd started a pattern. A few years later, our grandson Sam gave me another chance to break it. Sam was 12. He was obsessed with space. He'd come over and talk about rockets for hours. One day, he begged us, "Grandpa, Grandma, please, can we go to the Kennedy Space Center just for a weekend?" Patsy's face lit up again. She was ready to book the flights that very night. I remember Sam's face looking up at me, so full of wonder. And I remember what I did. I felt that familiar tightening. I started talking logistics. I talked about off-season discounts. I suggested maybe we should drive to save on airfare. I said, maybe we should wait until you're a little older so you can appreciate it more. I framed my hesitation as wisdom, as being smart. We never went. Sam is in college now. He's studying business, not astrophysics. That window, that specific window for that specific adventure with my 12-year-old grandson is closed forever. When I think about that, I feel ashamed. These weren't just isolated incidents. They were symptoms. The real turning point wasn't one big event. It was a slow, quiet shrinking of our world. First, Patsy's knees got bad. Those long walks we'd talked about taking along the coast, out of the question. Then my own balance started to go. I'd get dizzy. The trips we'd saved for began to move. They slipped from the someday column right into the impossible list. Rome? Patsy said it to me one day, just matter of fact. Forget Rome, Johnny. I can't do the cobblestones. A safari? It became a laughable idea. I started to feel anxious, a low-grade panic as I watched the physical world we'd put off exploring just recede into the distance. And the money sat in the bank. It just sat there, silently. The most painful change was in Patsy. She stopped bringing me brochures. She stopped pointing out articles in the travel section. That hopeful spark in her eyes when she'd propose an idea, it just faded away. Her quiet resignation was the most accurate measure of my failure. We stopped planning adventures and started just managing our days. We were sad. We were just sad. Then, last year, the shrinkage reached our very doorstep. We had to sell our car. Neither of us should drive anymore. That car was our freedom. It was how we visited the grandkids, how we drove up to the coast for the day, how we got to the movies. Letting it go felt like a surrender. It shrank our world to the dimensions of this house and this yard. The life my savings was meant to fund was now geographically, physically out of reach. Which brings me back to yesterday, to the mailbox, that final, mundane failure. Here's what I understand now, sitting in this quiet living room. I was a scientist, but I confused my currencies. I prized financial capital over physical capital and experiential capital. I saved for a future version of myself, a robust, agile, 80-year-old adventurer who never arrived. The man who showed up was me, with this walker, out of breath on my own driveway. Money saved for a future you can't physically reach is just numbers on a page. It's nothing. It's nothing. And I'm sitting here with all this regret, and I can't get any of it back. But maybe, if you listen to an old man who got the formula completely wrong, I can tell you what to do instead. The real wealth isn't in the bank. It's in your legs that can carry you. It's in your lungs that can breathe the air on a mountaintop. It's in the shared laugh with someone you love in a place you've never been. If you can walk to your mailbox without a second thought, if you can carry your own suitcase through an airport, if you can get through a whole day without your body screaming at you, you are a billionaire. You are richer than I ever was with my $1 million. Spend that fortune. Be reckless with it, because it has an expiration date, and you never know when it's coming. Take the trip now. Not next year. Now. Book it tomorrow. Spoil your kids or your grandkids with an experience, not just a toy. Buy the slightly better seats at the ball game so you can actually see the players' faces. Order the bottle of wine with dinner and don't look at the price. Create the memory. I promise you, the memory will appreciate in value long, long after the money is forgotten. It compounds in your heart, not in your portfolio. Let me give you one more example. This one really sits with me. It was about 5 years ago. Our granddaughter Chloe was graduating from high school. She's Lisa's youngest. She'd been accepted to a college back east. Patsy had the idea. "Let's take her to Paris," she said. "Just the three of us, a graduation gift, a proper send-off." She didn't even bring me a brochure this time. She just said it over breakfast, her voice quiet, testing the waters. And my mind, my old trained mind, immediately started calculating. Airfare for 3, a hotel, meals. It would be thousands. I opened my mouth and I saw her flinch. She was waiting for it. She was braced for my "let's think about it." But for a second, just a second, I hesitated. I looked at her. I saw the hope she was trying so hard to hide. And I thought about Chloe, about how fast she'd grown up. So I said, "Okay, let's look at some dates." The smile that broke out on Patsy's face, it was like the sun coming out after a long winter. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Really?" she said. "Oh, Johnny, it'll be wonderful." For 2 days, our house felt alive again. We looked at pictures online. Patsy talked about the Louvre, about sitting at a cafe. Chloe was over the moon. She started learning little French phrases. But then I sat down at the computer to actually book it, and I saw the numbers. And the old fear, that deep-seated need for security, clamped down on my chest. I started researching cheaper hotels further out from the center. I looked at flights with 2 layovers. I thought, well, if we go in the fall instead of the summer, it's less crowded. I was doing it again. I was engineering the joy right out of it. I went back to Patsy with my smarter plan, a cheaper hotel, a later date. "It's more practical," I said. The light didn't just leave her eyes this time. It was like a door closed behind them. She just nodded. "If that's what you think is best." She told Chloe we were still working on it, that it might be later in the year. Chloe's excitement dimmed, and then, of course, life happened. Chloe's summer got busy with friends. My arthritis flared up that fall. Patsy had a minor scare with her heart that made us nervous about traveling far from our doctors. We never went. We gave Chloe a check instead, a generous check. She was grateful. I know she was. But it wasn't Paris. It was just numbers on paper. Another missed memory, traded for the safety of my bank balance. That was the last big dream Patsy ever voiced. After that, she stopped suggesting altogether. We settled into this quiet waiting. We had the money to do anything, and the physical limitations to do nothing. The cruelest joke was that the more our bodies failed, the more my savings grew. The market had a good run. My fortress got taller, thicker, more impressive. And I was stuck in a smaller and smaller room inside it. So here I am. I'm Johnny Harris. I'm 88. I have a wife I love, children who call, grandchildren who visit, and a beautiful, empty fortress. I wasted my life being frugal. I was so careful with the wrong thing. I guarded the money and let the time slip through my fingers. Don't make my mistake, please. Look at your calendar. Look at the people you love. If there's something you're putting off for a more responsible time, I'm telling you, question it. Be frivolous with your money while you're stingy with your experiences. The experiences are the only thing you get to keep. The experiences are the only thing you get to keep. And I let most of them slip away. But the hardest part, the part that really broke me, wasn't the trips we didn't take. It was losing Patsy. It happened 2 years ago. A stroke. Quick, they said. She didn't suffer, they said. 1 minute she was in the garden, the next she was gone. And I was left in this quiet house with all our plans and all my regrets. The weeks after are a blur. The kids were wonderful. Mark and Lisa handled everything. The grandkids came, their faces so sad and confused. But in the middle of all that, in the middle of the flowers and the casseroles and the quiet murmurs, I had to go through her things. Her dresser, her side of the closet. And that's when I found it. In the bottom drawer of her nightstand, under a stack of sweaters, a simple 3-ring binder. I opened it, not knowing what to expect. It was her travel journal. But it wasn't a journal of places we'd been. It was a journal of places we'd talked about going. My Patsy, my cheerful, curious Patsy, had made a scrapbook of our deferred dreams. There was the Alaskan cruise brochure, carefully trimmed and taped to a page. Next to it, she'd written, "Summer 2008. Johnny thought it was too much. Maybe next year." She'd drawn a little whale in the margin. There was a printout about Kennedy Space Center. "Sam's dream, 2012. Johnny said to wait." She'd glued a picture of Sam at age 12 holding a model rocket. Page after page. Rome. The cobblestone streets she knew she'd never walk. A safari. The Paris trip with Chloe. She'd even printed pictures of the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, creating a collage of what might have been. For each one, a little note. A date. A reason we'd postponed it. Always my reason. Too expensive. Bad time of year. We should wait. It wasn't angry. That was the worst part. Her notes were just factual. A little sad, maybe, but not bitter. She'd accepted it. She'd taken all that hope, all that bright-eyed curiosity, and she'd quietly filed it away in a binder under her sweaters. I sat on the edge of our bed holding that binder, and I cried. I cried like I hadn't since I was a boy. Great heaving sobs that came from a place so deep and dark I didn't know it existed. All those years I thought I was being the strong one, the provider, the sensible scientist. And the whole time, she was quietly mourning the life we weren't living, while loving the man who was stopping us from living it. That binder was her final, gentle indictment. She never showed it to me. She never used it to make me feel guilty. She just kept it. Maybe as a way to still dream, privately. Or maybe as a record, so she wouldn't forget what she'd hoped for. I felt so stupid. So utterly, completely stupid. I'd been so proud of my fortress. I'd polished the walls and counted the gold and stood guard at the gate. And I never noticed that the person inside with me was slowly fading, her colors getting dimmer, her world getting smaller, because I was too busy admiring the foundation. The money was all still there, more than ever. After she was gone, the statements kept coming, the numbers kept growing, and I hated them. I hated every digit, because they were just proof of what I'd chosen instead of her, instead of us. For months, I just sat here, in this living room. I'd look at the driveway, at the mailbox, and I couldn't even muster the will to try. What was the point? The one person I'd built it all for was gone, and I'd wasted the time we had. That's the real confession. It's not just that I was frugal, it's that I was a coward. I was terrified of the future, of not having enough, of some vague disaster. So I hoarded security like a dragon hoards gold, and I let the present, the messy, beautiful, expensive present, slip through my fingers. I traded Patsy's bright eyes for a better interest rate. I traded Sam's wonder for a sensible savings plan, and now I'm here. An 88-year-old man with $1 million and a binder full of ghosts. I can't call her and say, "Pack your bags, we're going to Paris tomorrow." I can't gather all the grandkids for that Alaskan cruise. That ship has sailed, literally. Yesterday, trying to walk to the mailbox, that was just the physical confirmation of what my heart already knew. The door is closed. The menu is gone. The show is over. I saved for the encore, but I didn't realize the main performance was happening the whole time, and I missed most of it. because I was too busy checking the price of the ticket. So that's it. That's the weight of it. I loved her. I love my family, and I failed them. Not by being poor, but by being rich in all the wrong ways. I have nothing left to spend my money on, and all the time in the world to regret it. But you're still in the main performance. You're still in the main performance. The curtain hasn't fallen, and I need you to understand something I got wrong for 70 years. Here's what I learned sitting here with Patsy's binder. Life isn't a savings plan. It's a current account. You have to spend the principal, not just live off the interest. I thought I was being logical, a scientist planning for variables, but the biggest variable, time, and the health to enjoy it, I treated as a constant. I assumed it would always be there. It isn't. It's the most precious, non-renewable resource you have. I was wrong about what security is. Security isn't a number in a bank. That's just fear dressed up as responsibility. Real security is a treasure chest of memories you can draw from when your body starts to fail. It's the feeling of a glacier's chill on your face, even when you're just remembering it in your living room. It's the shared joke with your grandson in front of a rocket, a story you can retell. I have no deposits in that bank. I have a vault full of IOUs for experiences I never collected. So here is my direct advice, as plainly as I can say it. If you are watching this, and you can stand up from your chair without a thought, you are holding a winning lottery ticket in your hand. Don't file it away for later. Cash it in. Take the trip that feels a little extravagant. Not next year, when the prices might be better. This year, while your knees still work. Take your family. Yes, all of them. The chaos, the cost, the planning headache, that's not the price. That's part of the gift. The memory of that chaos will be what you talk about for decades. I know the math of fear, dividing the cost by the number of days and thinking it's too high. Learn the math of joy instead. Multiply the experience by the number of people you love, and you'll see it's the best investment you'll ever make. Stop saying, "we should," and start saying, "we are." We are going to visit you next month. We are booking that cabin. We are getting tickets to the show. Turn your plans into declarations, and for God's sake, stop waiting for a better time. The better time is now, before the world shrinks, before the cobblestones become impossible, before the brochure ends up in a binder under a sweater. I know it feels risky. It felt risky to me too. But I see now that the real risk isn't spending the money. The real catastrophic risk is outliving your ability to enjoy the life you save for. That's where I am. Don't come here. This chair isn't comfortable. You still have time. Maybe not all the time in the world, but you have now. And now is the only currency that's accepted for adventures. You can't buy a plane ticket with someday. You have to use today. I can't get my time back. I can't take Patsy to Paris. I can't stand under a rocket with Sam. But maybe I can use this regret of mine to give you a push, a permission slip you didn't know you needed. This channel, I'm told, is full of stories like mine. People who've lived a long time and learned things the hard way. If what I've said today struck a chord with you, if you felt that little pang of recognition about something you're putting off, then hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications. There are more voices here, wiser than mine, and they might have the exact piece of advice you need to hear next. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me, What's the one thing you've been putting off that you're going to stop putting off? Is it a place? A visit? A conversation? Just typing it out makes it more real. I'd like to read them. It would make this lonely old man feel like some good might finally come from all this. If this story resonated, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm to show this to someone else who might be hesitating on the edge of a dream. And share it. Share it with your spouse, your parent, your friend who's always talking about the trip they'll take one day. Give them a nudge. Maybe have a story of your own, a lesson learned too late or just in time. There's a form in the description below. You can submit it. Your story could be the one that changes everything for someone watching. Don't underestimate what your experience is worth to someone else. A book that helped me make a little sense of this after Patsy was gone is called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. The number one regret is exactly this. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. For me, that meant living a life true to joy, not to fear. There's a link to it below if you're interested. So my final bit of wisdom from the far side of a long life. Be a spendthrift with your time. Be generous with your experiences. Be reckless with your love. And be frugal only with your regrets. Don't collect them like I did. You don't have to. The mailbox will always be there. The adventure might not be. Go while you can still walk.